You ever see a simple symbol and just know there's more to it? Like a secret hiding in plain sight? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about today. We're going to unpack this one ancient mark, and believe me, it's got it all. Crazy clever practical uses, a connection to the divine, and some seriously deep philosophy. You ready? Let's get into it.
So here it is. Take a look. To anyone who reads Tamil, you've probably seen this a million times at the start of a letter or some document, right? But here's the thing. It is so much more than just a little squiggle you start with.
I know. Sounds like a huge claim, right? The universe in that one little mark? But just hang with me on this. We're going to peel this thing back like an onion, layer by layer. We'll start with its super practical beginnings, and by the end, we'll be talking about quantum physics and the very code of life. Seriously.
All right, so first things first. Before we get into all the cosmic stuff, our story actually starts somewhere really down to earth. It starts with a problem. A real-world, practical problem that ancient writers had to deal with. To get this symbol, you first got to get the tech they were using. Okay, so picture this. Paper isn't really a thing yet. Your main writing material for all the important stuff in South Asia is dried palm leaves. And they were great, but they had one big weakness. They could be super brittle. So just imagine you're a scribe, painstakingly carving out some epic poem or a life-saving medical text. And then, snap, the leaf splits right down the middle. Total disaster, right? They absolutely needed some kind of quality control. And that is where our little symbol comes in as this brilliant, low-tech solution. See, its shape is super clever. It's got a circle, an arc, and a line, which just so happen to be the three basic building blocks for the entire Tamil alphabet. So the logic was simple. If a palm leaf was strong enough to handle this one tricky composite symbol without ripping, then hey, it was good to go for the whole manuscript. It was their stress test, a little mark that gave them the green light to write with confidence. But you know how it is. A useful tool often becomes something more. And that's exactly what happened here. This mark didn't stay just a scribe's quality check for long. It took on this whole other layer of meaning, something much more sacred, much more divine. So this symbol has a name. It's called the Pillaiyar Suzhi. Pillaiyar is another name for Lord Ganesha, the really well-loved elephant-headed god who's famous for being the remover of obstacles. He's the go-to guy for any new beginning. And get this, in the mythology, Ganesha is actually the one who wrote down the entire epic, the Mahabharata. So it makes perfect sense, right? You start any writing project with his symbol, and it's like a little prayer, an invocation, asking him to clear the way and help you see it through to the end. Okay, so we've covered the practical side, and we've covered the divine side. Now we're going even deeper. This is where things get really mind-bending, because this symbol isn't just a test or a prayer. It's basically a map of existence itself. Just look at the shape again. Really look at it. It's not just a static image, is it? It's a flow, a process. It starts with that tiny little circle, which then spirals out into an arc, and then stretches out into a straight line, heading off into the distance. It's a visual journey. And what it represents is this incredibly profound idea that everything, no matter how huge or complicated, starts from one single, simple point and just expands from there. And the real key to unlocking all of this is in the name itself, Suzhi. In Tamil, Suzhi can mean a circle, but it also means zero. And that little circle, that Suzhi, right at the beginning of the symbol, well, that's the philosophical core of this entire concept. And this is where it gets really cool, this incredible duality. On one hand, the Suzhi, as zero, stands for Inmai, which means absence, nothingness, the void. But on the other hand, as a complete circle, it stands for Mujuai, which means completeness, wholeness, basically everything. So think about that. How can one tiny thing represent both nothing and everything all at the same time? Well, the answer is kind of baked right into the geometry of a circle. I mean, think about it. Where does a circle begin? Where does it end? It doesn't. The start and end points are exactly the same. That's why it's the perfect symbol for a whole cycle, a complete system. So in this way of thinking, the void, the zero, isn't actually empty. No, it's the source code. It's the point of pure infinite potential. It's where nothing and everything aren't opposites. They're just two sides of the very same coin. Okay, I get it. This might all be sounding a little bit like ancient mystical philosophy. But what is absolutely wild is how this core idea, this concept of everything starting from a single point that is somehow both nothing and everything, shows up again and again in modern science and in spiritual beliefs all over the world. Take quantum physics, for example. We now know that our entire reality is built up from these fundamental, tiny, indivisible packets of energy. All the light, all the matter in the cosmos, it all boils down to these little discrete points, these quanta. It's literally the modern scientific version of the universe starting from a single, fundamental source.
Okay, now hold that thought. And listen to this line from an ancient Tamil prayer, the Thiruvachakam. It says, "The divine source became space, earth, wind, and light. You became existence and absence." Do you hear that? It's the exact same duality we were just talking about with the Suzhi. One source that is both existence and absence. It's incredible. You've got science and ancient spirituality basically pointing at the very same pattern.
And this pattern isn't just out there in the cosmos or in ancient texts. It's inside every single one of us. Think about the very beginning of human life, the zygote. What is it? It's a single round cell, a perfect little circle. It's a single point of origin that holds the entire, complete blueprint for a complex human being. It is a Suzhi, a tiny point of wholeness that contains everything that will ever come from it. Wow. So we've gone from a practical test for palm leaves all the way to the fabric of the universe itself. Let's bring this all back down to earth for a second. What does this all mean? What's the real power of this symbol for us right here, right now? So, is drawing this symbol at the start of something just an old habit? A superstition that people just do without really thinking about it? Well, after everything we've just gone through, I think the answer is a clear and resounding no. Its purpose is so much deeper, so much more powerful than that. It's not about magic. It's a powerful tool for your own mind. It's a psychological anchor. Think about it. When you consciously draw a mark that symbolizes both nothing and everything, you're doing something really profound. You're taking a moment to be humble. It helps quiet down that nagging ego, the I, me, mine part of our brain. It connects you to something bigger than yourself, to this universal flow of energy. And that's where true confidence comes from, not from being arrogant, but from knowing you're part of a much bigger story. It's the ultimate reminder that every single great thing you'll ever do starts just like this, with one small intentional mark. So, from a simple test to keep ink from ruining a leaf to a complete map of the cosmos, the Pillaiyar Suzhi is this amazing example of how a universe of meaning can be packed into the simplest little shape. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What other simple marks do we see every day, completely taking for granted? And what incredible secrets, what entire universes are just sitting there, waiting for us to take a closer look?